dear students. Let us discuss in today's session the few more characteristics about the database state. Okay, database state related to this particular term. I have few more discussion, that is the distinction between database schema and database state is the very important one. When we define a new database, we specify its database schema only to the DBMS. So what is the difference between the database schema and database state? Schema is whatever we are saving in the database. For example, we are saving student records in the database, right? So when we are storing the database student type of record in our database, we are representing the schema of that student. Schema represents what are the characteristics of a student we are storing. That's all, right? And database state is what, after the designers have designed the schema diagram, when once this database is given for the end users to use, they start inputting or adding the student records to it, right? So that is what the database state. Okay, so the initial description of the which one the schema, the diagrammatically, what simply gives the student type of record holds what type of characteristics. Did you all understand? So at this point, the corresponding database state is the empty state with no data. So they are telling what here is, when the schema diagram, when the database schema is actually described or represented, it actually doesn't hold any data in it. It will be in an empty state with without any student information inside it. Okay, and we get the initial state of the database when the database is first populated or loaded with the initial data. So when we actually tell the database is accommodated with certain information, when the database will be added with some new data for the first time, that is what the insertion of data, we call it as what, populating or loading the initial student information to the student record. Okay, from then on, every time an update operation is applied to the database, we get another database state. So this is again a repetition for you all. Like today, if the end user, if any of the staff in the or the end user of that university database, one of them has added some 50 student records today. So the current state of the student record or student schema in at particular time, at that particular moment of time after inserting 50 student information, that is a current state. So a new state is obtained every time when the database is used. That is the next day when the end user starts inputting few more students information to that database. What happens? The database state get changes, and that at that particular point of time the database will be having its current state. And what is that current state? With certain new data other than today's 50 student information, there will be something more than 50 student information the next day, and that is referred as the current state at the next usage of the database. Fine. The DBMS is partly responsible for ensuring that every state of the database is a valid state, that is, a state that satisfies the structure and constraints specified in the schema. So you all are knowing the term valid, right? So what is the meaning of valid? Whatever we are storing the information about a what concepts, databases, files, like if it is a student record, if it is a course record, whatever we are storing in the database should be in a valid state. What is that valid state? Like whatever the data we are entering with the student name, it should be of character type only, then it is a valid data. Whatever we are entering with the student number, if the student data type is defined as number, we should enter only the number kind of information. That is what we call it as valid state. And let us take the which one, class of a student. I have already told in the earlier discussion that a class can have an entry from which range 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1 to 5 range. Other than these numbers, if we add, it is not a valid data what we are entering. Are you all understanding? So that is what you mean by a state that satisfies the structure and constraints specified in the schema. So whatever how the structure is being defined, like a student should have what attributes: name, number, class, major, all these. Okay, so that is one thing. And constraints, like constraint means that field, like student number, class, or major, that field of information should hold which or should belong to which uh, category of data type. That is what you mean by the state of that satisfies the structure and constraints specified in the schema. Okay, then hence specifying a correct schema to the DBMS is extremely important, and the schema must be designed with utmost care. So we should be very conscious. I mean, the designer should be very particular, very responsible to while they are designing the schema diagram at the initial stage. Okay, and the DBMS stores the descriptions of the schemas, constructs, and constraints, which are also called the metadata in the DBMS catalog, so that DBMS software can refer to the schema whenever it needs to. So now we all are knowing what is a database schema or the schema diagram, you all know. So what does this metadata hold? The DBMS is going to store these description of the schema representation, where in the metadata. Okay, so metadata holds what? The descriptions of the schema constructs. Remember this. Okay, so the metadata is a very simple thing. It holds the schema diagram representation of the database concepts. Okay, and in the DBMS catalog, so where the metadata is held in the DBMS catalog, so that whenever the DBMS software want to refer any of the schema representation, it can easily refer to the help of a DBMS catalog. Okay, the schema is sometimes called the intention, and a database state is called an extension of the schema. So you may be asked, what is the difference between intention and extension of the schema? So it is very simple. The database schema is represented as intention, and the database state is referred as a database extension. So database state is what? The state of the database may be today some 50 records of a student is the current state of the database today. Tomorrow it will be added, that student records will be added with more than 50 records. So tomorrow this DBMS state will be different. So that is what with the extension of the schema. Remember these terms, okay? And as I have told in the earlier section that we shall also discuss with the three schema architecture. So the next topic in this second chapter is three schema architecture and data independence. Very important one. What is this architecture? See students, in our initial discussion with the second chapter, I had told about the conceptual data level, low level data level, and representation level and all, right? So those kind of representations we shall look into this in this architecture. Okay, fine. Three of the four important characteristics of the database approach listed in section 1.3 are. So what is the meaning of the first line here is, in the first chapter we have discussed certain characteristics about of our data, which one? Database approach. So among the list of characteristics, among the major four characteristics, which are the very important one here, three important are being listed here, which is that one is use of a catalog to store the database description. Just now we told that a catalog or metadata holds the schema diagram description. Yes. So that is self-describing nature of the DBMS approach. That is a first characteristic. Okay. Insulation of programs and data. I hope you all remember I had spoken about the data abstraction, data independence there. So insulation of programs and data. Okay, this is a second characteristic, important one. Third one, support of multiple user views. So Among the four, these three characteristics are very important, and these three characteristics are being highlighted in which architecture? Three schema architecture. So in this section, we specify an architecture for database systems called the three schema architecture, which was proposed to help achieve and visualize these characteristics. So this architecture is going to highlight these three characteristics. Okay. Now let us look or observe the pattern of it. Fine. So the goal of the three schema architecture, which will be illustrated in the next slide, is to separate the user application from the physical database. So what do you mean by separating the user application from the physical database? Physical database means where exactly the information is stored with the help of which one? Certain database tables and all. Okay, we are storing the data in the computerized data, where you're storing in the physical, the secondary storage devices. Okay, in the disk where you're saving the data, we call it as physical database. And separate the user applications. Which are user application? Like we have several category of users, right? End users. So each end user's requirement may be different, and I hope you remember that multi users there will be multi GUI. They all of them may not be using the same interface to access the database contents. One user may be using which one different graphical user interface. Another user may be using some other form based user interface, or another user may be using the query based interface to get the data present in the database. Are you all understanding? So the main intention of the three schema architecture is to separate the user applications from the physical database. That is, physical database relates to low level data. User applications are all high level data, where at the high level data we users doesn't bother how the informations data are stored in the DBMS environment. Okay, so how the things are saved in the disk, they are not bothered with the user. So user applications and physical database both are what separated. Okay, in this architecture, schemas can be defined at the following three levels. So you all are now aware with the schema. So the schemas are defined with three levels. Which are those levels? First one is the internal level, or we call it as a internal schema. Second one, the conceptual level, which is a conceptual schema. And the third one is the external or view level, which includes a number of external schemas or user views. So these are the three levels: internal level, conceptual level, and external or view level. So this is very easy, students. How these three levels are defined, you will be having a correct picture when once you go through with the diagram. Observe here. Fine. See at the left side, whatever is being highlighted here: internal level, conceptual level, external level. And what we should remember is internal level and external level. These should be what? Separated in the architecture. So that is end users. They will be concentrating only with the high level data, and they are kept not with, they are not given with too too much details with the information how the things are stored in the database. Okay, so this is referred as physical level or internal level, where the information is stored is at the internal level. Okay, now conceptual level, what is this? Conceptual level or conceptual schema is nothing but where we are using the metadata catalog, the description of the constraints, data types, or the schema diagram, everything we find with the which one? Conceptual schema. And external view, see your some dots you are finding. That is, there are many number of users for this database. See, database is stored in the DBMS environment, and these databases, these are the common databases which are shared by these many end users. Okay, and the requirements of all these end users may not be the same. They may be viewing some different data, but they are using all are using the common database. Okay, and what is the importance of conceptual level? When end user wants to search any information, there will be what metadata or catalog. With the help of that metadata or catalog, there is a mapping. See a internal mapping. So there is a which one mapping between conceptual and internal schema, like the metadata or the catalog was going to DBMS catalog will be giving the information how or where exactly the information are present in the storage devices, so that the data are fetched from that particular devices or the disk, and it is given to the user to use or to view. Is that clear? So this is what the representation of a three schema architecture. Very important topic, very frequently asked question from first unit. A diagram is very important and it is simple also. Okay, remember these three levels, and the three levels like the internal level always refers to the physical database, how the informations are stored. See, this diagram notations are referred as database. This kind of image what you are finding, these represents the database. Okay, so which is holding the data. And this is the first level, internal schema, conceptual schema. External schema or external level, external views are nothing but the end users. It is simple to represent. Okay, so there will be mapping between external view and conceptual view. There will be a mapping between conceptual view and internal schema. That is, end users are using some application programs, or they will be using some graphical user interfaces, right? So with the help of those interfaces, they will be what, putting their request to which one, the conceptual schema. So the conceptual schema, in order to process their request, it should map the map to the exact data stored in the database. So there will be a mapping between conceptual schema and internal schema. Okay, fine. Now let us have some certain information about the internal level. You have to explain the what feature of internal level. Okay, now as you have followed in the diagram, keep in mind that diagram and refer this definitions. It is very simple. The internal level has an internal schema which describes the physical storage structure of the database. So physically means what? For example, if I ask you to give certain object, if you are knowing where the object is present, you can easily give a search and give it to me, right? Yes. So the physical storage structure means the internal level tries to give the information where exactly student, for example, there were students like Brown and Smith. That particular student record in the disk where it is present. Okay, where is that student record stored? Among that many number of numerous student records, if I want to fetch a particular student record, where exactly, in which particular address the informations are got, these are the descriptions done or at the internal level. The internal schema uses a physical data model and describes the complete details of data storage and access paths for the database. So what is the job of this internal schema is, they are going to define, they are going to describe how the details are stored in the physical level, and whenever there is a requirement of any data, how these exact data are mapped and it is loaded to the which one, memory. So these details of how the data are stored and how it has to be accessed. Like for example, in the introduction part I had told, we will be using certain hashing techniques. Okay, some mapping techniques, like whenever certain request to a file is there, how quickly the file is recognized in the disk where it is being stored, and how it will be searched and retrieved quickly. So this description is done at which level? Internal level. Okay, fine. Now let us observe the conceptual level. It has a conceptual schema which describes the structure of the whole database for a community of users. So you found in the diagram that there is a which one mapping between the external view and the conceptual schema, right? So this conceptual schema describes or whatever the structure that is designed in the database for many multi-users. Community of users means how much ever the users categories are there. For all those users, this particular uh, information is displayed, okay, or described. The conceptual schema hides the details of physical storage structures and concentrates on describing entities, data types, relationships, user operations, and constraints. So, I always told that normally users don't bother with the low level detail. We bother only the high level data. For example, I am a user who is going to perform some um, updates on a student record. That is, I have been given in charge to add the information for a student, to delete the information of a student, to search a particular information about a student. If I am given such type of authority, then I should bother what type of queries has to be used to add the information, what queries has to be used to remove the information of a student. But I don't want to know the information how the informations what I am inserting are getting stored at the lower level in this disk, how it is getting stored, where it is stored, the address and all. I'm not bothered with that. Are you all understanding? I had already told you about the conceptual schema tries to represent the I mean, there is a mapping between external view and conceptual schema, right? So the conceptual schema is going to maintain which information, the entities, like student is an entity, course is an entity. In a university database, which are the entities that are stored, okay? And with respect to each entity, what are the data types? Whatever the fields, whatever the attributes are there for the entities, which is a data type that is defined for those attributes, and what is the relationship between the entities, then which are the common operations that are done with those entities, like whether the student entity can be updated, can be modified, uh, inserted with new data, deleted, all such operations and constraints, like those entities should hold which type of data. Okay, so the restrictions for storing the data are with the constraints. Okay, these informations are defined. In the conceptual schema. So the conclusion here is conceptual schema tries to avoid or hide the low level details, how the exact data of a student course or any other is stored at the physical storage level, at the low level. It simply gives which one? The abstracted details, like the user wants to know what type of entities are present, what are the attributes of it, how with what are the constraints that has to be taken care while adding the information. These requirements are given to which one? To the external view or level. Okay. Usually, a representational data model is used to describe the conceptual schema when a database system is implemented. So, if you remember, in the data model, I had told you that there are three levels. One is the conceptual level or high level, physical level or low level, and in between these two, there is a representation model. So, representation model is actually used to describe how the database contents or the details of the database are being described. So that description of the database system is done with the help of which one? Representational data model. This implementation conceptual schema is often based on a conceptual schema design in a high level data model. So the implementation conceptual schema is actually related to which one? The schema diagram design, which is referred with a high level data model. So, as a conclusion, the conceptual level try to give the diagrammatic representation of the schemas used in the database with the help of certain which one? Representation of a data model. It means through the diagrams, okay, like that, or through the table format, like that. Okay. Now the third level, that is the external or view level, which includes a number of external schemas or user views. So we know that there are multi-users in the DBMS environment. So external view is related to the end users who are using the database. Each external schema describes the part of the database that a particular user group is interested in and hides the rest of the database from that user group. So if there are six end users, not all the six end users are given all the authority to operate on a database. For example, one person is related to what to add the information of a student, to delete, to update, like that. But remaining five users may not be given to update or modify the information. They may be only given the authority to simply view the data, like that. So the external schema, what it is going to describe is mm, how many users are there, for which user how much privilege is given. Okay, all such things are done or taken care at the which one, user group level. Okay, as in the previous level, each external schema is typically implemented using a representational data model, possibly based on an external schema design in a high level data model. So even the what priority or the privileges given to the different category of users who are uh, accessing the database information, even those privileges or the operations or with respect to a particular user group is being defined using some representational data model in the external schema. Is that clear? So this is with the three schema architecture, and let me uh, give you a brief what explanation with the help of this diagram now. Listen. So in internal schema, conceptual schema, external view. Internal schema is a one which is also referred as physical level or low level data model, which tries to store whatever the records are added in the database. How the database records are added, like if the users are knowing, like in the conceptual schema, the users will be defined with the which type of entities exist, what type of data types are there for their attributes, what are the restrictions are defined. Based on those information, the user will be trying to insert the records for that entities. So whichever the records are being inserted, updated, deleted, everything will be what saved. That status of records are saved in the which one, low level, that is physical level, or in the database, which is represented in this um, like this diagram. Okay, then the conceptual schema tries to give these representation, like the schema representation, the entities, relationship, all such information is being given to whom, the external view, at the external view, or to the end users, and it always hide the details of which one, the low level details. Even though the conceptual schema binds with the low level data, that is how it is going to bind. The conceptual schema is making use of metadata, which is stored in the DBMS catalog. So that catalog will be mapping where exactly a particular student or course particular information is stored at the low level. So when conceptual schema is aware of the low level details, it is a responsibility at this level that it should hide the low level details to the external view and simply give the information of the high level view. Which are the high level view? That is only with the schema information, data type, constraints, relationship, with the help of a metadata. Okay, and external view are what, here at this level, the different end users who are using the database at the low level. Which user is given how much authority to use the to use which part of the data. Okay, so that is exactly represented with some implementation or representational model at the external level. Okay, so this is with the three schema architecture, and I hope it is fine with the points that are added. Okay, as a conclusion with the architecture part, uh, as you all have observed, the three schemas are only the descriptions of data. The stored data that actually exists is at the physical level only. In our DBMS, based on the three schema architecture, each user group refers to its own external schema. So among the three schemas, external, conceptual, and which one, internal, or internal, external, and which one, the conceptual level, middle one. Okay, all these three schemas are only describing the uh, structure of the data. The actual data that is stored is at the low level or the physical level only. And in the DBMS environment, this each user group is referred by their own external schema, like which user is given how much authority to access the database, even that is represented with certain schema representation. Okay, hence the DBMS must transform a request specified on an external schema into a request against the conceptual schema, and then into a request to the internal schema for processing over the stored database. So there are three steps involved. So when the end user wants to know the result of Smith result in all the courses what he has chosen, okay, then whatever the query he is going to put at the high level, okay, that has to be converted to which level, at the conceptual level. Okay, and from the conceptual level, with the help of metadata, the DBMS software has to recognize, in order to process that query which was given by the end user, uh, which entities has to be referred. Okay, how I mean, how many entities? For example, if I want to know the grade report of a student Smith in all the course, so which are the tables or the entities I should refer? We have to take with the student and the grade report, right? Yes. So at the conceptual level, we should have the, or at the that schema has to decide with the help of a metadata that the query issued by a user has to be processed with the help of which two particular entities or the database that is stored. And on referring that, the conceptual schema then has to give a request, as there is a mapping between conceptual level and the internal level. There should be a request from the conceptual schema to the internal schema uh, to, in order to fetch that respective data from the database. Okay, if the request is a database retrieval, the data extracted from the database must be reformatted to match the user's external view. The process of transforming request and results between the levels are called mapping. So it was not anything like the direct data asked. The example what I gave was, I am referring grade report and student. So student file and course grade report file was mapped by the conceptual schema with the internal schema. When I mapped that particular Smith result in the grade report, so whatever the result I have got, it is not the direct data that was present. Instead, the data has to be presented in such a way how the user has expected in his query. How the user is expecting the answer from his, through his query, the same way the answer has to be displayed to him. Are you all understanding? So the transforming the request or the query that was given by the external user, that has to be mapped by the conceptual level to the internal level, and when the internal level gets the data, exact data, that has to be what, given back in a proper way to the external user. So this transformation of request and results is what we call it as mappings. Okay, okay students, in this section I have tried my best to make you all understand with the three schema architecture, and I would like to tell that it is a very important one. In this chapter we have come across many 2-mark questions with the definitions of which one, instance, schema, okay, uh, in- intention and extension of a schema like this, and which are the three levels in the three schema architecture. What is the difference between conceptual schema and internal schema or the physical schema? These are certain expected questions, and with the elongated descriptive answers, you will be expecting the very recently discussed three schema architecture. Okay. So in the next class, we shall discuss about the data independence. Thank you all. Have a nice day.